Let me use an entirely different example. Running, okay? When I first got married, I don't know if did I use this example last time? Okay. When I first got married, I started putting weight on, okay? I didn't have, look, I had just started out, didn't have any money, couldn't join a gym, I had shoes. So what I do, I see these people out there running. I was living in Pittsburgh. I said, I can go up and run around Highland Park Reservoir about a third of a mile. I think I can keep this thing under control. Up to this point, I thought anything over 40 yards was a total waste of time and effort. I got to run a third of a mile? Really? Come on. So, put my shoes on, went up there, ran around the reservoir, and I felt really good. I was with other people. What's the next thing that I did? I started keeping a log of how many miles or how many times I could run around. I ended up moving away from that area of the city, now out in the country, and I'm thinking, if I can run down the road to the stop sign and come back, I'm taking a step forward. So I got in the car, went out, measured it, and said, you know, that's almost a mile. I'm running 2 miles now. Holy mackerel, this is really great stuff. It was written down. I'm tracking it, okay? The next thing that I ended up doing was joining a running club. So that every Saturday morning, I'd go down to North Park Lake, and we'd get together, and it was 5 miles around the lake. Run around there, and all of a sudden, you know, it's a little bit harder for me to say, it's cold, it's dark, it's raining, I'm not going, but you know, those guys are waiting for me. That's column 4. What happened with the results in column 4 when you had some accountability with other people, Terry? Did it go up? Okay. What is the last? What's in the 5th bar?
Progress report.
Pardon? Progress report. Okay. The progress report that we had is that each week that we got together, we were increasing the distance just a little bit more. I had friends, I had a written plan, I was tracking the progress, and then all of a sudden, Bobby, what happened on that last one? It went way up. So the end of the story is this. I was really feeling pretty good about myself. Weight was kind of taking care of itself. I thought it was pretty cool. I could eat anything I wanted and I wasn't putting weight on. Pretty neat. Also at the same time, I'm finding, you know, geez, I can run a 5K, I can run a 10K, I can even run further than that because these guys have kind of shown me that I could. So what did I do? I signed up to run in the Pittsburgh Marathon, 26.2 miles. 26.2 miles. Prior to that, the longest I had ever run was about 13 miles. I said, yeah, well, you know, I've got friends, I can do this. Now here was my plan. I had a plan. The Pittsburgh Marathon at that point was 5 laps around North Park Lake. I figured that at the very worst, I was never further than 2.5 miles away from my car. Probably not the smartest way to go about it, but I was a realist. I fell in with a bunch of guys that were of similar type conditioning, similar type pace, and you know, we're just kind of pulling each other along. And I finished because I went through those specific steps. It allowed me to do something that I never, ever, ever, ever thought I could do. The same thing holds true for you. If you take a look at it, default position where the goal is, I'm thinking about it. That's what Rick said. You have to think about it mentally before you can do it physically. After you get through the mentally part, commit it to paper. It makes it real. And we're going to talk about how to commit a goal to paper here just shortly. I ran 12 marathons over my life before my body started to break down. And actually the marathons had nothing to do with breakdown. Adult soccer did it to me. But the marathon, it's kind of like, can I prove to myself that I can do something that is absolutely so outrageous? Like running for 3 hours and 23 minutes. That was my best time down at the Marine Corps Marathon down in Washington, D.C. When I signed up for that, you'll love this one. You know, let's see, Pittsburgh Marathon, 2.5 miles away from my car. Marine Corps Marathon, I had never been to Washington, D.C. What a great way to see the sights. They run by all the monuments, you know, and I'm thinking, this is really good. You know, I'm going to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. I saw lots of great sights for about 13 miles. And then for the last 13, it was head down, just keep it going. Because really, it was no longer a sightseeing trip. It was a test to prove to myself that I can do it. And as you prove to yourself that you can set goals, you can challenge yourself, you have set the stage for you to do things that you have never thought about before. Never thought about. We're going to talk about BHAGs here in just a little bit. Is that a term that you've ever heard before? I'm going to leave you hanging. I'll leave you hanging.